So you're psychic, eh?
Life imitated art. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, life imitated art. You know, and the LA Times called me up and says, "Did you know about this?" You know, 2 years after the play, 3 years after the play, it actually happened in reality. I said, "Whoa, wait a minute, this is really odd, very odd."
I think you are psychic because it also happened with Enrique Camarena.
Camarena,
Oh
yeah.
Unless you had heard about it, I don't know.
No, I know. I remember Enrique Camarena in that case. He killed him. Yeah, yeah.
Maybe you are clever.
One important thing about the play as a historian is that this was the first thing. This was the first time, this play, that Chicano theater became Asianized, if you will. That we had a character who was not from our own community, from our own familias, as a grandparent or a parent or a Chicano struggling with his or her bicultural identity, and that to put an Asian American, a Japanese American character in the play, that was kind of forward-looking. There is not a single teatro in the country that I'm aware of, and you can tell me, and I think I've discussed this with Diane, that call themselves Chicano theater or Chicana theater. It's Latino theater, and they have become far more inclusive, our theater companies have, than the mainstream theaters have. Because we're not paying lip service, we're giving roles to people that are a part of our communities. There's been, we've been around a long time, and we come in every size, shape, and color. And we've got all kinds of, la raza cósmica, which sounds rather idealistic, but in many ways, the Mexicano, the Mestizo, and Mestiza are the cosmic race. There was a question of, yes.
I'm a UCR theater student.
Whoa, this is kind of loud. Way up there.
And first of all, let me say that it was wonderful. I enjoyed the play. It was great. Cast, you were fantastic. Director, awesome job. And I was born in the 90s, and I want to say a little bit of, you guys were talking, like all the topics that were touched on, all the subjects that it was brought up in this play, is still relevant. Really, really relevant. And as a matter of fact, I want to ask, because right now, I'm taking the actor's journey, I'm taking some classes, and I wanted to ask, how is it being, maybe one of you actors can probably answer, how is it for Latinos actors in the market nowadays? Has it really been an improvement since then? Has it been different? Is it easy, or, because I don't see in any made movies any Latinos starting.
Now with Ben Affleck is taking all the roles.
Danny, do you want to address that?
Well, I've actually only done 2 gangbangers and 2 gardeners, and most of the time I do like the cop. They usually throw me into the blue collar, and I work in the legal field, and it doesn't matter. I wouldn't mind so much Argo if they were to say, because they always say, well, it's artistic choice. I say, okay, fine. Why didn't the hostages who were white, why didn't you take artistic choice with them and make one of them a Mexican? Why does it never work the other way around? And the thing is, as bad as some of us have felt, the nasty blade of racism because it cuts deep, I think there's so much more. It's just the tip of the iceberg. You never hear about when the producers talk about, yeah, but he looks too Mexican. You never hear about that, and you can only imagine that. And I think the problem is tenfold more so than what we perceive. Because you'll never hear those conversations. Yet, you see it on TV, you see the end result. And that's what irks me. I wouldn't mind the other way around. When I saw Courage Under Fire, I remember thinking, I'll bet the only Mexicans in there are the Iraqis or the Middle Easterners who are firing at the Americans. And and it irks me because I'm a veteran, my uncles were veterans, we have been decorated more than any other ethnic group ever, and it makes no fucking difference. Per capita, we bleed for this country and it makes no difference. The 3rd and the 5th man to die in Iraq were Latinos, one of them illegal for Christ's sake, and it just never ends. I'm sorry.
A movie called Buscando el Soldado Pérez. You see that? It's like searching for Private Ryan, right? Saving Private Ryan. It's kind of a parrot a little bit, but actually it was all shot in Mexico, But what's interesting is that it's about a drug dealer that has to go rescue his brother in Iraq. And his mother forces him to go get your brother, go save him, because he gets captured. He was in a part of the American Army. And so, but it was all shot in Mexico, which is really interesting, and the Iraqis are all played by Mexicans. So, I mean, very convincing. It looks very real, It's like, Saddam Hussein was in Tío Pedro, right?
I know, and I wouldn't mind so much, but when it affects, the fact that I don't get more jobs as an actor means I may not be able to send my daughter to college. It means that we can't progress as a people, we can't live like anybody else. And that's what irks me. That we can't provide. And we're people too, we're entitled to feed our families. And it's not an ego thing. It's not about stardom. At my age, I'll never be a star. All I want is to be able to portray honest characters, with dignity. Never get the freaking chance.
Can I just say one last comment?
Yeah.
I just want to thank all of you guys that are playwrights of Chicano. Like you said, the first role that I ever got as an actor was the Tame Desert. That was the thing that really, that really inspired me. And I don't think that if it would have happened for the Tame Desert, I would have gotten the cast. So I think it was great that you guys keep writing for that speaks about our struggles, our problems, our culture, and especially what the Tame Desert talks about, racism and stuff like that. One of my class, I have one of the students said basically the same thing. Well, maybe it's outdated. That doesn't exist anymore. And the director, one of the things that he did is he made sure to send us all the people that you're talking, these men that works in the prison that makes people wear pink and all this stuff, and he made sure to send us all the articles, and even when he talks about it, so that we knew that it was not outdated. And I want to really thank you guys, playwrights, for doing that, writing about issues, writing about struggles, and giving us the opportunity and like water in the desert for us to drink and keep on dreaming that there is a hope for us to get there.
One of the things that's really exciting now is the technology is so cheap that everyone can make movies. And last year, 7 of my friends all made features. This was the first time that there were 7 features of the Chicano experience. And I'm thinking, wow, it's only a matter of a couple more years before there's an explosion of Chicano cinema, because, I saw this play when I was 17 years old. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to do something. I devoted 20 years of my career to writing TV pilots, working with Norman Lear, writing movies, thinking, the beginning I thought, they just don't know about Latinos, if there were more writers. And then at some point you really get it, they don't care. We are the doormat. We are basically, this is the image that we've been relegated to, the hot señorita, the Latin lover, and the outsiders. We are them. And it really hurt me that, things are not going to change unless we're willing to put our money down. Part of the reason why we don't see better roles is because nobody wants to spend $2 million to find out if a Latino can star in a movie and then discover that it won't. Nobody wants to spend millions of dollars on those kinds of risks. That's how come we don't have those movies. Unless we as Latinos and Chicanos say, well, let's put our fucking money down. We are so big. Let's put our money down and do it. So I know last year for me, I was it. I was like, I either have to walk away or put my money down and risk losing this amount of money to see if, we could have a different type of story, a different type of Latina. And I wrote a movie called Detained in the Desert. I wrote a play and then it became a movie, and it deals with the law in Arizona. It was my protest, and the basic premise is you have a Latina who's a dark-skinned Latina going through Arizona with her Canadian boyfriend who's white. He's the illegal alien. She's the one who gets deported, So, anyway, so there's something exciting, it's really upsetting, and at some point, you can be a star. I just realized I have a movie that you have to play the dad. I'll just show you the screenplay.
Is there a role for an abuelito in your
To end on a positive note, you all have been wonderfully attentive and interested and interesting.
Yes. I just wanted to mention something since we're talking about Danny, who's a lovely friend of ours, and also was in Josefina's first play when she got produced at the Gaslamp Quarter District Young Playwrights. He was in Simply Maria, the first production. So this is coming back to Casa in a sense. So
Yeah, and what you're... To end on a very, very positive note, we wrote in the Tenaz
I have one
Manifesto,
question.
otra vez,
Otra
okay?
vez, sorry. No, but I just
It's
want
her
to know
theater.
this, okay? I'm sorry, I don't mean to hog up these here. But, I'm glad that Cesar Chavez is finally getting made by somebody else, unfortunately. But can you tell us a little bit about that journey of why couldn't we get, if we could get Malcolm X, why did it take so long, I don't know if you're willing to share that experience. 'Cause
Well,
I'm always waiting for it.
I don't know, a lot of people don't know that I worked on a Cesar Chavez movie, right?
Yeah.
Again, it happened a little bit too soon. So I was talking to Cesar 10 years before he died about a movie of his life. And a year before he died, Fred Ross, his mentor, and I went to La Paz to talk him into letting us do the Cesar Chavez movie, based on Fred's book, Fighting Goliath, that's what it is. And Cesar was a very complex human being. He didn't want a movie on his life. And then I said, well, how about a television series? And he says, well, frankly, I prefer a movie. So, I've just written, actually, my autobiography, the autobiography of Hector Campesino, in which I really get into Cesar, the Cesar that I knew up close, because I was 6 years old when I met Cesar Chavez, But the thing is that it was a real complex issue with him, and I think the main thing was that he was very afraid that it would fall into the hands of Hollywood, and that it would not be a story that I would be allowed to tell. And so I was satisfied to wait, and then he died, much sooner than I thought. And then I heard that Hollywood was poking around trying to get the rights to a story, and so I rushed and pitched my idea.